One Piece has many debates that tend to tear the community apart, a few of which would include things like Shanks versus Mihawk, or Zoro versus Sanji, or even who's best girl in One Piece. It's Robin, by the way, just in case you were wondering. But there's one debate that stands atop the rest, and that's the debate of who's stronger between the Admirals and the Yonko. I'm telling you now, this debate is probably not as close as you think, and it's likely that you don't even really understand what I mean by that. I am a firm believer that Admiral equal Yonko, and no, this is not a power scaling video, so if that's what you're looking for, look elsewhere. But by the end of this video, regardless of which side you're biased towards, you'll probably realize that in One Piece, no top tier is beating another top tier easily. So let's start things off by making one thing clear that most people seem oblivious to. Admiral is not a measurement of strength. Yonko is not a measurement of strength. These are not power levels. Don't attribute to strength what can be attributed to a title or a rank. Yonko is a title, Admiral is a rank. Even in just the Marines, there are power gaps between them. For example, Akainu would have been considered relative to or greater than Aokiji, who could be considered greater than Kizaru, etc. In the Yonko, Kaido was considered the strongest creature, but he was shown somewhat relative to Big Mom, at least for a brief moment. The same Big Mom who struggled against Kid, who got beaten by Shanks, who got injured by a way weaker version of Blackbeard. The very clear point that's being made here is that there is no Admiral or Yonko level in this series. It's all a game of matchups, and their strengths are all over the place. You just have strong characters that hold these positions as juggernauts in the story. So then what makes the One Piece community feel that one side is stronger than the other? You're asking the wrong person, I have no clue. But let's look at the biggest argument for each side. Admiral Glazers will tell you that if the Yonko were actually stronger, they'd have taken over the world already. Yonko Glazers will tell you that if the Admirals were stronger, then they'd have taken out the Emperors already. Both of those are arguments, I guess, but they're both dumb arguments. Here's a fact for you all. Yonko do not choose themselves. Guess what? Get this. They're chosen by the world government because they are the ones who issue bounties and assess threat levels. Yonko is a title given to the 4 pirate captains with the highest bounties. It's been stated throughout the story that the existence of Yonko is actually pretty beneficial to the public in a lot of ways. The existence of Yonko in the territory they reside over keeps weaker pirates at bay. The most clear examples of this would be the world going into an uproar after Whitebeard died, or Wano getting raided the literal moment Kaido went down. It's not a Marine's job to eradicate the Yonko even if they were strong enough to do so. As soon as Whitebeard died, the Gorosei immediately began discussions and meetings to figure out who would be the replacement Yonko. Green Bull fleeing from Wano isn't a feat for Shanks. Shanks, the entire red-haired pirates, the Straw Hat pirates, the remnants of the Beast pirates, the people of Wano, etc. How is getting literally 1v50'd a Yonko feat? By that same logic, you could bring up the Blackbeard and his entire crew fleeing from an island just from hearing that Akainu was coming, alone. And Akainu pulling up on a Yonko crew alone is much more impressive than 50 plus people, including many top tiers, getting ready to jump one Admiral. I hope you're starting to see how dumb these arguments are when trying to push a narrative. So Yonko Glazers can keep asking, why don't the Admirals take out the Yonko? Well, there's your reason why. The Yonko are indirectly under the protection of the world government. Nah. That's not how I meant to word that. The Yonko are tolerated by the world government, not protected or accepted. Now, Admiral Glazers, y'all are not safe either because your argument is equally as stupid. Why haven't the Yonko taken over the world? Honestly, in a way, they kinda have. Most of the world is either under some form of Yonko protection or control. But looking past that, the fact remains that they're all pirates. The Yonko don't work together, they're not friends, or at least not allies in the same way that the Admirals are. Even if they theoretically had the combined strength to do so, they would never take down the Admirals because of their clashing personalities. The thing keeping the Yonko at bay isn't the threat of losing to the Marines. It's the threat of potentially losing to the Marines and then being third-partied by their enemies. I don't know what people don't get about the fact that the Yonko have no friends. Whitebeard seems to be a prime example in both of these poor arguments, so let's use him again. Pulling up to Marineford to save Ace not only ended up with him getting violated by the Marines in a war, but it also ended up in him getting third-partied by pirates. And not just third-partied, he got 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and even almost 7th partied just by making his presence known. What do you think would happen to any Yonko that jumps into a fight like that? They'll get pounced on. So no, it's not just the direct threat of the Admirals that keep the Yonko at bay, it's also the fact that Yonko are in pursuit of power, not a war with the world government. The goal of Yonko isn't to crush the Marines or even overthrow the government for that matter. Pirates are selfish and greedy, all they want is what benefits them. And no, it's not even a headcanon, because the formation of the Cross Guild being something groundbreaking and revolutionary is all the proof you need to know that pirates and bounty hunters actively targeting the Marines or other government officials is not common. So yeah, Admiral level and Yonko level don't exist. You could say something like Kaido beats Kizaru or Akainu beats Big Mom, but you cannot just explicitly say Admiral beats Yonko or Yonko beats Admiral, because the fact of the matter is their power levels are far too inconsistent amongst each other. And you can take feats like the Yonko clashing and splitting the sky, but then you can't ignore feats like the Admirals clashing and permanently altering the weather of an entire country. So don't be blinded by bias towards one side or another, and don't say things like, well, narratively, because there is no narratively. Because amongst these 8 characters, we've only ever seen like 3 of them do anything, so narratively, all of these characters border the line of featless. So please stop with headcanons and stop riding one side or the other. Just let Oda write the story, please, and you sit back and enjoy the ride. Alright, maybe you learned something. Maybe you didn't. Maybe your opinion's been swayed. Maybe it hasn't. I don't really care. Sub up and comment more video ideas. I only made this video because this debate has just been completely stupid to me for years now. I'ma catch y'all boys and girls in the next one, alright? We out this piece. Yeah.